Welcome to Nintendo Ninja News. I'm your host, Chris Isis, and I believe I fully recovered from doing the two conventions and things like that. This is the Nintendo Ninja News show where I talk about a bit about life and a topic and things like that. And today we are talking about sort of the final thoughts on the EB Games Expo that I covered on the weekend as a media for the first time, and I guess a bit of a recap and thoughts of on the GammaCon, seeming that September was really about the month of conventions and expos and traveling and doing all that sort of stuff. So where do I start? This is the hard part, I guess. So over the period of 2 or so weeks, I've recorded 5 hours of material, which is a huge amount. So you've seen sort of the 2 hours of GammaCon, and there's a 2 hours of EB Games Expo, and there's an extended sort of version, 3 hours of EB Games and Expo, and me wandering around Sydney and seeing the sights and sounds for those who've never been to Sydney before. So that's sort of an hour of that content with the 2 hours of gaming and things like that. I think from a filming point of view, filming GammaCon was easier because I had a little cameraman friend, and it was a bit more people focused, I think, with the cosplay and things like that. And that was the positives about it. With EB Games Expo, it was much tougher. I think it literally broke me. It took me 2 days to sort of really recover energy-wise to get that sorted out. And that was pretty difficult to get through. I think I probably did too much material in terms of going around Sydney and doing the extra stuff. But, you know, I wanted to do something that was a one-off. And I've done that now, and I will not do that again. Probably not. Unless the video gets like a bajillion views and, you know, but it's highly unlikely. It's sitting on something like, I don't know, 20 views. So, you know, together it's done something like 60 views. And then it's nothing compared to some of the news videos that I've done where I may talk about a 2-minute news item and it gets 1,000 views. So, here's where the problem comes in with covering both events. GammaCon is not really about video games. It shows off some video games. It shows off some retro consoles and modern day consoles. And it has like a Smash Brothers tournament and a bit of Mario Kart. But apart from that, there's really no other content about Nintendo. And that makes it difficult to sort of think about next year and go, well, you know, what's the point in doing next year if it really has nothing to do with video games and things like that. It makes it difficult. And it's something that we may look into. EB Games Expo was a much more perfect fit for us, but traveling makes it a bit difficult. We run on a tight budget, and Nintendo's booth was pretty lackluster. It was interesting because I saw the website press start and it said, oh, it had a massive booth, and it was like, if you call that booth massive, what do you call the Sony one? Astronomical? All it had was, you know, it had the same Wii U 3DS games from 3-4 years ago, and it had Color Splash, which was sort of shoved, you know, sort of in the corner, and you had Breath of the Wild, where only about 200-300 people could actually play it. Unless you had a golden ticket, or you were part of the media, which Nintendo Ninja News was, that was the only new games that they had. So, I mean, even going into the expo, I knew that Nintendo was going to provide basically bare bones to pretty much nothing. It was nice to see the booths and the games there and people playing the games, but it it really, there wasn't much to film. It was really hard to stretch it out. It was like, it's kind of like stretching The Hobbit out into 3 films. Yeah. So that was the difficulty part about it. And, I've had to do, and I will continue to think about it. And also, too, the issue was that we didn't have much time to plan for the EB Games Expo. We had something like a month to really think about what we're going to film and what we're going to do about that. And, getting the business cards, which actually, I don't think I've actually shown you on film. Oh, we got business cards, which is interesting because next year we are sort of looking at changing the logo and the look of the art design stuff of Nintendo Ninja News. But the problem is we really haven't found anyone that has the sort of talent that we're looking for. We've tried a couple areas and places, and it's been sort of disappointing. So if you're a good artist that can sort of fit the anime mode and can do Nintendo type characters, that'd be nice for you to step forward now. So yeah, these are the cards, the business cards that we got, which are very cool. So there it is up close for those. It's glossy, so it's not going to look very good. But I can guarantee you it looks great in real life. It's got the glossy feel. Gloss. And we've got a lot of these cards. We only handed out about 20 or so at the EB Games convention because they were actually printed and arrived at the store on the day I was going on the bus. So I picked them up an hour before, or like half an hour before the bus left. So I was running very tight for time. So they were the sort of the issues that we had. I think some of the highs was we actually fucking achieved it. I actually achieved doing a 3-hour film that, the editing was not particularly perfect at times, but that's why we sort of say that we're semi-professional. Our videos are not like some of the other coverage where it's just 10 minutes long, a bit of, background doof music in the background, and it just shows you very quick snippets of things around the expo where you don't really get an in-depth look into it. It's kind of, their footage is a bit like buying McDonald's McBites, and ours is like, the large Big Mac meal. At least you actually get some sort of feeling to it. And, you see extended footage of me playing old games, and you see me talking about different things and showing off Lego and showing off the Nintendo booths, and we show off a couple Smash Brothers matches and a bit of Mario Kart 8, and there's a little bit of everything there. And it's sort of, and it goes on for a bit. It's not, cut into 30 seconds. You only see a snippet of everything, but you don't see a full part of anything. So, and I think that was one of the benefits of it. So I think the achievements was we actually got it done. We actually got a few views out of it. I think together both, the expo and the convention got about 800 to 1,000 views. Now, a year ago, I would probably say, wow, that's a lot of views. That's really, really good. But the last, 2 or 3 months, we've been hitting, 5,000-10,000 views a month. And that 1,000 views doesn't seem so good anymore. And it's hard because you keep on going up, and you're even looking at views like, 1,000 views we might get for a convention, and you sort of sit there and go, that doesn't sound like too good anymore. Because, I put in 2.5 days of running around and being completely knackered, and then the hours of editing for, particularly a small reward. I could post something about Pokemon Go or, something like that, and it gets 500, 1,000 views. And I know I'm talking about statistics here a bit, but it's sort of understanding the working for it and the sort of the payoff for it. And that makes it hard. I think with these conventions and expos, what's probably a little more important than the views is probably the networking and meeting people and that. And this is sort of the opportunity where Nintendo engineers can actually bump into people and mingle with them and things like that. And I think people were, they liked the way that we do this channel. I mean, heck, even me talking about views and stats and, I'm sort of revealing part of my goal plans here, which normally most YouTubers don't. But I don't really have a team or staff behind me. I'm not a website that earns a lot of money. I'm not a YouTuber that earns thousands of dollars a month. So it's my way to talk to you about these things, and people have suggestions. That's great. So I think there were the highs and lows of it. Now, with next year, 2017, the biggest benefit is that we now have 11 months to plan for it, or 12 months to plan for it now, instead of a month or a few weeks. And you're sort of, and I'm sort of sitting there and going, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? At least I have a couple conventions under my belt now. That's part of the reason why we're not doing PAX. The number one reason I think is getting a media pass is going to be much harder than the other two, events. There was like a long list of stuff to be approved of, even sort of business letterhead. I'm like, who sends letters nowadays? And also to the expense. It's $350 to go to Melbourne here, which is very expensive. Could be my entire, money budget for food and accommodation and things like that too. And that's just the airline fees. Then you got to do the backpacker stuff, which I stay at, which is, a nice place and easy and cheaper for meals. And that's probably another $100. And then, so you're already looking at nearly $500 for accommodation and for travel. And then you got to think of another probably $500 for, buying things, just simple things like food and things like that. Maybe I might like to buy something like a video game, or I might see a nice mug. Again, I've already got eight sort of Nintendo related mugs now. I've got to stop doing that. So I'm going to stop buying them. But you get what I mean, is the expense in trying to get into it. So PAX is particularly difficult for us, but we are definitely going to be looking into it and trying our best for next year, because I feel, having the channel around for 2.5 years, having a few more views and subscribers, and gaining more experience, and then going through GammaCon and the EB Expo again, going up those steps, we can go to PAX, and we will have 4 conventions under our belt, and we will have that experience to do that. So that will be sort of the plan. I don't think we would do movies again, because of the length of them and that sort of thing. I think what we want to do is focus on the people. And that's always sort of been one of our sort of policies here at NNN Engineers. And apart from providing news all the time. And we haven't done much news the last couple of weeks, sadly. And I enjoy doing the news. I enjoy it now compared to what I'm doing in Sydney, doing all that filming, because it's a lot harder. But yeah, I think we want to interview people who are Nintendo fans, people in cosplay and things like that. And I think, oddly enough, GammaCon has a better opportunity to show off, Nintendo fans and cosplay and things like that. I do have some ideas where Nintendo engineers can give suggestions to GammaCon and things like that. And there was some things they got right, which was really good, and there were some things that I sort of still feel like they didn't quite get right, and it was a little bit annoying. And it's hard because it's mainly like a pop culture convention. It's not really for video games, and that's where the hard part comes in for us, because there's no pure video games convention in Canberra. There really isn't. But our networking is improving. We know some other YouTubers in Canberra. We know local devs in Canberra and things like that. And if all these different groups sort of started to work together a bit more in sync, and helped promote GammaCon, I think that we could have a much bigger event and stronger advertising too. Not just promote these conventions in geeky, nerdy stores and locations, but the mainstream. Because you looked at EB Games Expo, and it didn't just have video games, it had, pop culture stuff too. And it's becoming more mainstream. It's not just, hardcore gamers turning up. You've got families and children turning up now. It's becoming like films and movies and music, you know, it's becoming mainstream now, and it's becoming more accepted to be a gamer or someone who happens to play video games. So that's an important thing too. So I think I'm going to wrap up this video now. So those are my thoughts, and seeing that I'm going to be doing the networking and things like that, and trying to do more collaborations and talking to people with interviews or just, you know, casual chats. And I have my new book. I was going to use it for cooking, but I might get a smaller, easier book to do that. But this little book, I'll be putting down, you know, people who I work with and know, and hopefully they will come and join up to Nintendo Ninja News, and we'll do some stuff together and all that sort of thing. And my cat's entered the video. Well, there you go. He's just down on the bottom left corner. So, it's gonna be a really interesting challenge. But I enjoy the conventions now that I've recovered and feeling good. And now I'm looking back and watching the 3-hour thing, going, oh wow, you know, I forgot that I filmed this, or I did that, or I saw that. And I think that was the most exciting thing about it, was actually seeing all this stuff and actually looking back. It's been a lot of fun. So that's it from me, and I shall see you later on.